US President Donald Trump has made another comment on Chinese President Xi Jinping, and this is a very unlikely comment made by US President. He says, and I quote, "I have never seen men so scared. I want my cabinet like China's Xi Jinping." He says, and I further quote, "JD Vance doesn't behave like Xi's men." JD budges into conversations, and hence Donald Trump comparing his cabinet with the Chinese cabinet, claiming that men fear Xi Jinping but nobody fears him in his own cabinet, giving example of JD Vance. Listen into what exactly Donald Trump said.
During the meeting, we were there. A couple of you were there, and some of you saw it. So he's here, and he's got about 6 people on each side, and every one of those people was standing like this. They were at attention. And I made a comment to one of them, and he got no response. I said, "Are you going to answer me?" I got no response. And President Xi didn't let him have any. So if there's any question, I said, "I want my cabinet to behave like that." I'm demanding that I want them sitting up like that, Tim, just nice and straight. I never saw posture like that. I've never seen men so scared in their lives. They have the equivalent of a vice president. He was. I said, "Are you going to answer my question?" And he's like, he doesn't move. I said, "What's wrong with this guy?" "Oh, I will answer all questions." Why don't you behave like that? JD doesn't behave like that. JD buds into conversations. I want to have that for at least a couple of days, okay, JD? We'll keep you long term, but a couple of days.
And my colleague Disha Bagchi is joining me over this uncanny remark of President Donald Trump. Disha, how do you see this comment?
He made these comments while recalling his meeting with the Chinese President Busan. So again, this is a comment made in light, but when it comes to what he said about JD Vance, it's interesting because we've seen that in the past, especially in that fiery exchange between Trump and Zelensky at the White House earlier this year, where JD Vance in fact intervened in that conversation, which in fact led to that fiery exchange later. So now him indicating that maybe JD Vance needs to think twice before butting into conversations is interesting. Does this signal some sort of tiff between the two? Not sure yet, but a very interesting comment given the fact that China and the Chinese government is a much more authoritarian sort of government. So now Trump indicating that he wants his cabinet to resemble that of Xi Jinping is very interesting, and definitely something that we need to keep an eye on. But his comments also come at a time when the Republicans did face quite a big loss today at the US elections in New York and Virginia. So very interesting comments made there by the US President.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Disha, for joining us. Whether it was a backhanded compliment or targeting JD Vance, we'll come to see about it.